Greetings. I'm Stephen Fantle, one of the producers for the Unite for Peace broadcast in celebration of the 2025 International Day of Peace. And I have the honor to be here with John Bunzel, the director of SIMPOL. Welcome, John, and thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for inviting me to have to say a few words to you today. Thank you.
My pleasure. So, can you tell us a little bit about SIMPOL and what it does for peace?
Sure. Well, SIMPOL is short for the simultaneous policy. And the idea is that that these days, under globalization, humanity is faced with a whole new category of problems. And those problems are problems that no nation alone can solve. And in fact, any nation that tries to move first would probably cause itself an economic competitive disadvantage. So, for example, if a nation wanted to solve climate change and it increased taxes and regulations to force its companies to reduce their emissions, those extra costs for those companies would mean that they'd become uncompetitive and they'd either go out of business or they'd move somewhere else. And so, of course, no nation wants to move first. And so we're all governments are caught in this vicious circle. And that's why, whether it's climate change, whether it's wealth inequality, whether it's corporate tax avoidance, whether it's regulating artificial intelligence, all of these problems suffer from this vicious circle of what I call destructive global competition. And so the idea of the simultaneous policy is that the only way out of this vicious circle is if all or sufficient nations implement the appropriate regulations or taxes simultaneously. Okay. Now I know that sounds that'll sound a lot very far-fetched to a lot of people,
Sounds
but
like
I would
it
say it's
like the purpose of the United Nations at the get go, really, to have agreement through unilateral and multilateral agreement to a variety of things.
well, that's correct. But one of the problems with there's a couple of big problems with the United Nations process. The first is that it deals with, they always try to deal with one single issue at a time, whether it's carbon emissions or plastics or whatever it may be. And of course, if you take any single issue, there will always be some nations that win, others that lose. And the losers then, of course, have no incentive to cooperate. So under SIMPOL, what we are suggesting is multi-issue policy packages whereby what a nation might lose on one issue, it can gain on the other.
Hmm.
And that provides a far greater opportunity for trade-offs and therefore for finding meaningful agreements. And the other problem with the United Nations is that there is no compulsion on nations to cooperate. With SIMPOL, what we are doing is inviting citizens to sign on to the campaign. And by doing so, they are telling politicians that they're going to be giving strong preference at all future national elections to politicians who've signed a pledge to implement the simultaneous policy alongside other governments. And that provides a very strong electoral pressure on politicians to sign the pledge. It's how, through SIMPOL, is how we can drive politicians towards global cooperation and towards peace. And that's how we've already got over 100 members of the UK Parliament have signed the SIMPOL pledge to implement SIMPOL. We have a number in the Republic of Ireland, more in Germany. We have some in the European Parliament, a couple in Canada, some in Australia. So we're the support is beginning to spread, and so that's really what SIMPOL is, if you like, is a governance tool for cross-border problems,
Mhm.
and it's a way that citizens can use their votes in a rather new way to drive politicians towards the cooperation we need.
Fantastic. Well, we certainly do need to look at all sorts of different types of solutions, and any of them is going to wind up having to be radical to the current way of people looking at the world. It sounds to me like your biggest challenge might be some of the actual politicians and some of the other areas, but direct citizenry action, putting pressure on those if they want to be elected and to be reelected to follow those recommendations sounds to me like a good way to approach it. We certainly need to do something. For people who want to find out more about this, they go to simpol.org.
Exactly. SIMPOL.org. That's absolutely right. And you sign up, it's completely free. And there's lots more information on our website. We also have national websites as well. So you can find all of that on our global site, simpol.org.
Well, thank you, John, so very much. We're going to be moving on here with Peace Day to another region of the world shortly, celebrating the International Day of Peace with concerts, art, culture, and of course, our youth hosts from a number of NGOs around the world. But it's been a pleasure to have you discuss SIMPOL and provide a potential solution that people can actually get involved in, they can take an action with, so that they don't feel like they're left out. I really appreciate
Absolutely. Stephen,
it.
I appreciate you asking me, and happy Peace Day to you.
Happy Peace Day, everyone. Don't forget, vote for peace.
Vote for peace. Thank you.